Champions Cup semi-final weekend, it feels huge because it is huge. Let's do a bit of a preview here, compare the teams and let me know what you think. Leinster, Toulouse, they're going to be massive favourites, but what's good about the two English sides, and from my point of view it's great to have two English sides in it, is they both score lots of points. They're both quality teams and they've got a fighting chance. Can they do it? Can they upset the odds? Leinster is as expected. Yes, they've got a few injuries. Keenan, yeah, that's a big miss, but Frawley is a good replacement. Very talented, Ireland international now. He was always going to come in and replace Keenan. And Osborne and Henshaw have been going great together, even though Ringrose is still injured. It's still a fantastic centre partnership. Osborne is going to be on Ireland's radar soon for sure. It's tough to break into with the trio of Aki, Henshaw and Ringrose, but he is a class player, no doubt. Maybe not massive, that midfield, but very, very skillful. And in the front row, of course, it's the Ireland front row. It's the new star in the second row, Joe McCarthy, alongside Baloney, who's moving next season. Baird, Van der Fleer and Doris, absolute class. Baird, that athletic ability, the extra height, as expected, is the elder Byrne partnering Gibson Park. Looking on the bench, you've got some big scrummagers to come on there. The props of Healy and Ala Alatoa, very experienced players. And then the younger Byrne, Harry Byrne, and a good return from injury. Good timing for O'Brien, Jimmy O'Brien, who can cover pretty much everywhere. And dare I say, Northampton are a bit like a mini Leinster. They've got an all-court game for sure. They can score lots of points. Leinster are going to respect them. It's kind of a case of who can get their game going first, who can stop each other playing. It's going to be really interesting what they do at that breakdown. In the back line, Northampton do have some injuries, but they've got enough quality to cover it just about. They've got their first choice half-backs, Mitchell and Smith, who could be England's half-backs going forward. They've got quite a few centres out. Odendahl could have started at 12. Hutchinson, the Scottish international, he's a class player. He's still injured. But what they're going to go for is get the experience of Fraser Dingwall in there. He's a really good organiser. Litchfield has got some power, got some pace. Did make a few mistakes last week against Harlequins. That was noted in defence, so he's coming off the bench. They're going for the experience of Dingwall. Freeman's coming in from the wing to cover at 13. He's played a fair bit of 13, but not all the time, so maybe not exactly how Northampton would have liked it, but they can cover there. They do still have a quality midfield. Rahm's been incredibly reliable for them. Maybe not absolute killer pace, but a great all-round game. They probably would have liked Slightholme to be fit, but I think he's got a concussion, so that is a big loss. But to make up for it, I guess, they've got George Hendy, the other winger, young Englishman, very, very talented. He's recovered to start on the other wing. And their best fullback, George Furbank, who's going to double as the replacement 10. In the front row, they've gone for experience, so they've gone for Alex Waller instead of Mani Oyogun. That makes sense because you're going up against the Irish front row. Curtis Langdon's been a phenomenal player. He's got to be in the English squad in the summer. And a very similar player to Sheehan, amazing in the loose. Davidson, another solid scrummager. They're going to have to go some against Porter and Furlong. That's a great matchup. They can have to have at least parity to have a chance. So they've gone for the experience in the props to start with. Second row wise, good fitness news. They get their best two second rows back just in time. Alex Moon and Alex Coles combined. Moon slightly bigger, slightly lumpier. Alex Coles more of an athlete. The back row, three very good players, but not really the balance they would have wanted. Courtney Laws was always going to be 6, that kind of second row /6. We know all about him. He slowed down a touch, but he's still a class player. But they would have loved a Ludlam or a Pearson at 7, or certainly on the bench, and they can't field either. That is a big miss, a big injury miss. So they've kind of got two number 8s at 7 and 8, Graham and Augustus. Both really good players. Sam Graham, one of the underrated players for Northampton. He's been a great find from the Championship, but really they would have liked one of them on the bench and one of them starting. So not how they'd have liked. Let's see if they can get parity in their back row. There's plenty of carrying for Northampton. Maybe not the out-and-out fetcher. Yep, Northampton, they are underdogs, but it's a good team, a great all-round team. Can they get their game going? You've got to say Leinster are huge favourites on the matchup for player. You still got to give it to Leinster. That back row balance for Northampton does worry me a touch, but it's all possible. Let me know if you think Northampton can do it or if Leinster are going to win fairly comfortably. Then on to Toulouse versus Harlequins. It's going to be an absolute rocking game here. Look at that front five for Toulouse. It's amazing. All French internationals, could be a starting French front five. The balance of Flamand, the athlete, and Meafu, the huge hulking second row, is amazing. Malvaca's keeping Marchand on the bench at the moment, so the two best French hookers. And you've got the Englishman Jack Willis at 7, who's having a phenomenal spell with Toulouse. He can't play for England, so Toulouse have him all the time. What a great player to have. They're the sort of players you want, international quality, who's not allowed to play international. And the starting French halfbacks, Dupont and Intermac. What more do you want? Dupont, we know, is a genius. Intermac is so tough. Great tackler, great runner. He will just go direct if needs be. A fantastic backline, of course. And look there, the Scottishman Blair Kinghorn keeping out the French international Thomas Ramos. And Kinghorn kicks goals as well, so he's really fitting into this team. So yeah, there's a couple of players from outside of France, but what a great core of French players. They're going to be absolutely amazing. Can they outplay Harlequins? Can they dominate possession? Absolutely, yes, they can. But what Harlequins are going to do is not die wondering. They're going to give it a go. They're going to score points. The question is, can they keep Toulouse out enough? Big show of faith in the front row. Young Finn Baxter starts over Joe Marler. I think it's the right call because Finn Baxter is the better all-round player. Marler, of course, a huge unit, and they've got Kerrod on the bench as well, so two big units on the bench, but they're going for their best front row as such of Baxter, Walker and Collier. Levis, the captain there at second row, he's a really good leader, and he's in great form. We saw that last week at Twickenham. And I love the balance of their back row and their midfield. They do have enough ballast there. Chandler Cunningham-South will run through people. Will Evans gets over the ball. And Alex Dombrandt likes to hit the lines, get the offload. So it's a classic balanced back row. And of course, in the back line, Andre Esterhazen can provide that focal point if they want to go first phase, smash up Esterhazen, then play. And of course, you've got plenty of speed in their back line. The back three of Murley, Liner and Green can light up from anywhere. Tyrone Green always seems to have his knee so heavily strapped, but still very agile. Danny Kerr's an interesting pick there. He's their most experienced player, of course, but on form, you'd probably say Will Porter is the better 9 at the moment. So is that a slight mistake? I understand playing the experienced Kerr, but should they have gone with a form player of Will Porter? Smith's obviously very creative, but they've got a good tenor on the bench as well. Jared Evans came on last week and had a big impact against Northampton. Beard covers wing and centre, so it's a good team with loads of points in it. They're going to have to be very low on their errors, though. Take all their chances, because when Toulouse get on a charge, they're almost impossible to stop. Kind of a shot to nothing for Harlequins. Love to see them have a go, but tough to see them getting past Toulouse. I'd probably say Northampton have the slightly better chance, but Leinster, Croke Park, with all those Irish fans behind them, going to be super tough, but I like it from an English point of view. We've got two sides, two good sides who I love watching, who have a fighting chance. Let me know what you think of those matchups, all the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.